as we know, Tommy Robinson recently went on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, which was a huge move, if you ask me. So many people love Tommy Robinson, including myself. Even Patrick Bet-David was in Tommy Robinson's corner for the longest time, saying we need to free Tommy Robinson. He was a political prisoner. That's what it was all about. And, well, the good thing about Tommy Robinson going on Patrick Bet-David's podcast is, well, the truth will definitely be exposed and revealed, because that's what Patrick Bet-David is good at exposing and asking all the good questions. If there's something that Patrick Bet-David wants to know, guaranteed he's probably going to get to the bottom of it. And I think he's one of those people that cares more about the facts as well. And as he says in this short little interview that I will show you in just a moment, he's a free speech absolutist. That means also, sadly, including the likes of Andrew Tate and supporting Andrew Tate. I don't agree with Patrick Bet-David about some things, but I agree with him about loads of other things as well. And I appreciate his siding with someone like Tommy Robinson, because that's the right side of history, if you ask me. Now, Don Keith recently interviewed Patrick Bet-David about the interview, and some things were said in the interview that I think are going to really rattle a lot of people. Here is the actual 4-minute interview.
Don Keith here with Patrick Bet-David in the Bahamas. Patrick, you've come all the way to the Bahamas to interview Tommy Robinson. Why was it important for you to do that?
I love hearing different perspectives. I'm a freedom of speech absolutist. And if somebody watches this, they say, well, he's a racist. He's a Islamophobe. He's this, he's that. Great. Listen to it and do your own due diligence and then do your own research. If you say he is, great. If you say no, I didn't know the side of him, then do research as well. But for me, in order to really find out who the person is, until you sit down kneecap to kneecap, talk to them, you're not going to really find out about it. After the conversation I have with him right now, he's got a very tough job. It's not like this is a good life. The guy just got out of jail 10 days ago. He's got 3 kids. Mm-hmm. If you're out of jail for, as many months as he was in, not spending time with your family, there is no reward for it. There is no victory for that. There is no celebration for that. He's doing this because he really believes in this, from the city he grew up in, and hearing that story with the passion that he has as a crusader. It's a crusade of his. Whether you agree with it or not, you have to respect it. I respect the hell out of it.
You mentioned the epithets that's sometimes attributed to Tommy, the racist, and the things like that. What was your impression of Tommy? Did you get that impression from him?
Not at all. No, that's not the feeling I get. But you have to realize, for me, I grew up in Iran. I've been all over the world. I was in the military and with people that were mostly white, and then you had some Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Asians. I'm around everybody. I get along with everybody. So to me, no feeling of that, but you felt somebody that loves his country, loves his family, has pride for what he grew up in, regular guy that wants to do his part that he sees others not doing. And, when you were a kid, you would see somebody get bullied. There was another person that would come in that would fight on behalf of the people that couldn't fight for themselves. When he told the story about his second cousin, 13-year-old being, in England, and he's watching this as a young adult, 18, 19, 20 years old, it's going to do something to you. And that fire doesn't come accidentally. I felt the fire, and more and more I talked to him, I learned where that fire came from.
There's a lot of shocking details that came out of this interview.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be shocked when they hear what's going on in the UK. When you hear about things in the United States, like the Epic City, we've got huge Muslim populations in Minnesota, Dearborn, Michigan. When you hear these stories that Tommy's telling about the UK, what kind of concern does that give you for the United States, and what do we need to do about those concerns?
Look, if I was the head of the Muslim community, just purely a case study, I'm not saying I am, I'm just saying if I was, I would look at and say, what reputation do we want to have as people when we go to cities? If I was running the Church of Scientology, if I'm running if I'm Billy Graham running, the face of Christianity for 50-something years, if I'm whoever it is that you're representing a religion, right? I would ask, what are we known for? What does the market say about us when we go into a city? When we go into a city, does it become better? Does it produce jobs? Does it get safer? Is crime less? Drugs, what is less, right? When you look at that and you see cities like Dearborn, what's happening to it? What's happening to, London, the stabbing, the crime, is it getting any better? I don't know. So one has to ask the question. And so, well, they're not all bad people. It's a very small percentage. Great. but the small percentage happens to be a bigger percentage than the small percentage of other religions. Why is that not the bigger percentage of other denominations? I think that's a very fair question to ask, and I'm sure it's not an exciting one. It's probably not one that people like from that denomination. I get a lot of hate for it. I get it. I don't blame you for feeling that way, but we all get judged by the product we produce. I got 4 kids. I'm going to be judged by what my 4 kids do in the next 20, 30, 40 years. If they don't, then guess what? They're going to look at daddy and say, what kind of a father were you? And it's a fair assessment to come back, right? It's a fair assessment to give a little bit of percentage to the parent. Hey, I think you raised bad kids. Cool. You know what? You're probably right. I wasn't a good father. So I think every religion, sports team, parents, everybody has to be judged on what product they produce. And unfortunately, when you look at what's going on in the UK, who's producing it? Is it the Hindus? Is it the Sikhs? Is it the Christians? Who is it? Who is producing it? Data doesn't lie. And the only people who hate data ever are the ones where the data reveals the truth about them. That's where you hate data.
I respect the hell out of Patrick Bet-David for flying all the way to the Bahamas where Tommy Robinson is having a holiday. Rightfully so. The man deserves it. The man just got out of prison 10 days ago, which is honestly crazy considering that he was in solitary confinement for the last 7 months. That would do something to someone's brain. And like I was mentioning in the videos, while he was actually in solitary confinement, Tommy Robinson maintaining his sanity, maintaining the level of expertise that he's been able to maintain coming out of prison is a huge miracle, man. Because when you're in solitary confinement for the likes of 7 months, it does a lot to your brain. It does a lot to your entire mental health side of things. And that's one of the things I want to hear during the interview with Patrick Bet-David, which I'm sure they get into. And I think it's being released either today or tomorrow, whichever the two, but it's going to come out. And Patrick is right on a number of levels. Like, he's got nothing really to gain. What is there to gain by going to prison for 7 months? Like, he was supposed to be there a lot longer. He spent 7 months in solitary confinement because he revealed the truth, because he exposed corrupt people, including Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan isn't happy about that. Obviously, Piers Morgan doesn't like being exposed because the truth gets out. And well, Piers Morgan goes, I don't like that. So I'm going to start attacking Tommy Robinson. I'm going to start smearing him. I'm going to start lying about him. Now, like Patrick Bet-David said, you can learn a lot about a person when you're kneecap to kneecap. Emotions are involved. You get to understand whether or not a person is lying or is truthful. Patrick Bet-David also said he encourages people to do their research. And I've encouraged people as well to do their research too. Who's right? Who's wrong? Loads of people in the UK love Tommy Robinson and absolutely loathe Piers Morgan and so many other of the establishment types. You know why? Because they build their brand of provocative drama that's all, well, the vast majority of it is all lies. So we know nowadays that people like Tommy Robinson are very rare. They're authentic. They speak the truth. And they've got nothing to hide. Tommy's got nothing to hide. He went to jail for 7 months. What has he got to hide? Obviously, he was a political prisoner and he was held in contempt of court, which is a ludicrous charge, if you ask me. But he's done everything to help his family in Luton. He's done everything to help the British citizens because it's his home. When you see your own family member being raped by Muslims, that does something to you, man. When you find out about that stuff, do you just sit back and allow it to continue unfolding, or do you do something about it? He's a patriot. Patrick Bet-David can see it just by spending time with Tommy. That's important for people to understand. And while I would love to see the drama unfold on Piers Morgan with Piers talking over Tommy, I think these kinds of interviews are more important. because you get to know more about Tommy the man, who he really is, as opposed to just having peers talk all over him, lie, smear him. I think is a good step in the right direction for Tommy. And Tommy will do Piers Morgan when he feels ready to do it. There's no pressure whatsoever. And I think Piers should have him on. It should be done live, no editing, no making out like Tommy is a bad person. Should all be done live. That's the way to do it, because we know you've got a bent against him. It's good that people like Patrick Bet-David are coming out and supporting Tommy. That's a good thing. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, you're blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.